We also think about transparency. So every single search inside of Flock is audited. That audit's stored in perpetuity. So while the data gets deleted at 30 days, that search history gets stored forever.
And who owns that data?
All the data is owned by the city or whoever's paying for the cameras. So if you added one in your neighborhood, which you should, your neighborhood owns that data. You control who has access to it, who it's shared with. So some of our neighborhoods share with local law authorities, some don't. And I think if you look at a place like Denver, all the data is owned by Denver PD. I can't even access to it. Even if in a life or death emergency you called and said, hey Garrett, we really got to get you, I'd say, I don't have the keys, it's encrypted. Only Denver PD can unlock that.
So you can't even, as the CEO, like open up a computer somewhere and tap into.
No, I mean, and to be fair, right? Yeah. These situations exist, right? Life or death situations exist all the time. Now, luckily, law enforcement works really well together.
Welcome back, FightFlock.com. In today's video, we're going to discuss Flock CEO and founder Garrett Langley. He is the mastermind behind all these Flock cameras going up in my local area and your local area as well. Currently, according to my count, there's over 95,000 of these Flock cameras going up, and that number is growing every week. It grows. He himself even says in a recent interview that they pull about 77 permits a day throughout the country to put up these Flock cameras, right? So basically, when they dig a hole, put a pole in the ground, fill it with concrete, and erect a camera, they have to obviously get a permit to do so. And that's a lot of permits they're pulling every day around the country, right? So that's a fast growing business indeed. And obviously it's a violation of our Fourth Amendment, which today we're gonna talk more in depth about the CEO, Garrett Langley. He was caught in some lies, right? And he did some interviews over the last several months. And a big one was late last summer, he did an interview with the Denver, Colorado local news. And in the interview, he basically said that Flock does not share any data with the federal government and doesn't have any contracts with the federal government. And that was back in August of 2025. And that was a big lie, basically a Pinocchio type lie, right? If you remember the old fable, I don't know if y'all old enough to remember Pinocchio. Every time he lied, his nose grew, right? So Garrett Langley, that was a big Pinocchio on that one. They turned out, after that interview, they did have contracts with the federal government. They call them pilot contracts. So they quickly try to justify saying it was just some trial stuff and it wasn't like permanent contracts. It was no big deal. So obviously they're trying to do some damage control on that. So he was caught in a big lie there. But his biggest misstep, looking back in the last several months, especially, he made a comment about the ICE raids, right? ICE raids were going on in the last several months, and Garrett Langley, the CEO, he says, well, ICE, we don't share data with ICE, and ICE or the police and law enforcement owns the data anyway. So again, his exact words, that law enforcement, the police own the data, the Flock data, all the data that it collects off of your license plate. So basically, as you drive by these cameras, right, it takes a picture of your plate, okay? This is a Georgia tag here, and basically that is that data gets stored, right? So he's saying they don't own the data, the police own the data, and that's a good thing, because actually he messed up, okay? I'm gonna tell you why. If you look at the big picture, that was a big misstep by Garrett Langley. He is panicking, right? He said, "Oh, the police own the data. We don't own the data. We have nothing to do with ICE." The whole ICE thing scared him, right? And he wasn't a 3D chess player. Let me tell you that, because we have several lawsuits going through the courts right now, especially the Institute of Justice or Institute for Justice. They got a new one just opened up in San Jose, California. They have one already in progress in Virginia. And these court cases will eventually one of them will make it to the Supreme Court, right? Obviously, we know that, and we're gonna win in the end. But where Langley screwed up was he said the police own the data, and that's a big thing, because when it comes to the Fourth Amendment and the police tracking us, the biggest thing is this private company like Flock and the public entities like the police forces. It's a big blur line. It's a gray area. Who is it a public company tracking us? Is it a private company tracking us. So, because technically a private company can't violate your civil rights, right? That's a big thing, right? So in this case, the police own the data, which is that data is exactly what's violating our civil rights. Okay, so in the end, the Supreme Court will see, hopefully see this our way, and hopefully one of the attorneys for Institute of Justice will play the CEO's words, maybe a video of his exact words where he says the police own the data, and that indeed will be obviously the Fourth Amendment violation right there, because the government can violate your Fourth Amendment rights, a private company cannot, right? So Flock cannot, but the police can violate your Fourth Amendment rights. So Garrett Langley was not thinking ahead, right? He was thinking about today and the now, right? Because he was panicking over the ICE raids and all the publicity that it got, right? And again, this is not a political channel. I have Democrat brothers and sisters. I have Republican brothers and sisters. I have independent brothers and sisters that all follow this channel. We need to unite on this issue, no matter what side of the aisle you stand on, okay? Or even if you're not political, you need to be against these flock cameras. We are about, at least my channel and my whole philosophy is to unite people against this surveillance, this constant surveillance, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, this Orwellian stuff that's going on, basically, tracking our every movements for no reason at all, right? We have done nothing wrong, but yet we're basically, we're suspects in every single crime because we drive around on the streets that we paid for with our tax dollars, with tags on our cars or license plates on our cars that we paid for with our own money, and basically we have no say-so in this, right? So I think hopefully ultimately the Supreme Court will rule in our favor. But Garrett Langley, he messed up bad when he basically come out and said the police own the data and Flock does not own the data, and that was because he was running scared because of the ICE raids, right? That was a big misstep. And also I want to mention, he has this new thing. He just did an interview about a month ago with this Stripe channel. This guy on the Stripe channel, basically talking to a Irish guy about the U.S. Constitution, like some Irish guy has knows anything about our Constitution or even cares about our Constitution. No offense to this guy on the Stripe network, but the safe cities. Let's talk about safe cities. So Flock CEO Garrett Langley, he's talking about these safe cities. They got one now. Apparently, the prototype is already laid out. It's in Greenville, Mississippi. Okay. So for all our viewers in Greenville, Mississippi, watch out because they have drones and cameras everywhere. They're rolling this thing out where it's basically a big Flock umbrella over that city. It's supposed to be obviously make things safer and make crime go away, right? That's obviously a big fallacy. We all know that. Don't drink that Kool-Aid, okay? Let me tell you that. Don't drink that Kool-Aid, folks. But anyway, this is apparently this Greenville, Mississippi is the prototype. It's basically it's like a pilot project for what they want to do throughout the country, okay, with these safe cities, right? 24-hour surveillance, 7 days a week, everywhere you go, no matter where you go, okay, and without a warrant, all without a warrant, okay? And this is not the world I want to live in. This is definitely not the country I want to live in. And our founding fathers made the Constitution. The Fourth Amendment was pretty specific about having to have a warrant to search us, right, and then not having a dragnet surveillance type state, right? This is basically our founders. Our founding fathers were brilliant, right? Those guys were brilliant. Let's just be honest. Also, let's talk about the safe city. Let's talk about the Flock touts. How they prevent stolen cars, kidnappings, shoplifting, all this stuff. And okay, nobody wants their car stolen. Nobody wants to have their stuff stolen. Nobody wants to be kidnapped, right? I mean, obviously that's goes without saying. But again, I've said in other videos, previous videos, first of all, the kidnappings are mostly domestic issues. 99% of them, they're known to the person that kidnaps them, right? So the police always solve those cases, even way before Flock cameras ever existed, okay? So that's a big fallacy there. Also, shoplifting, yeah, you may catch a petty shoplifter here and there driving away, okay, from a Lowe's or a Home Depot or a Walmart. But, at the end of the day, that doesn't really protect us. That protects corporations, right? That does nothing for you and me, okay? And then this, at Walmart, somebody will say, well, it raises prices on goods and services. Well, I'm sure they can find other reasons to raise prices, right? So that, trust me, that's not just all about shoplifting. And besides, now the biggest shoplifting going on is they're stealing from distribution centers, they're stealing off of trains and things like that. They're actually getting bigger loads because of the, it's harder to steal from a store right now, right? So you can argue it's made it worse, not better. Again, these basically Eastern European gangs are stealing from the warehouses directly and off trains. Okay, so basically they're getting bigger loads versus just stealing one item at a time out of a Walmart or a Target store or something, right? So really, it basically has done nothing, okay, for shoplifting overall. And the biggest thing is the stolen cars, right? I know a lot about cars. Okay, I'm a car person. I have a car background, right? Very extensive car background. But stolen cars, when they first come out with car alarms, that was supposed to be the end all. You weren't supposed to get your car stolen. And then they come up with these fobs and all this stuff on these new cars. Oh, this computer technology, you won't be able to steal a car. Well, guess what, folks? All you need is Altel and some simple knowledge of the Altel, and basically you can make your own keys, okay, to any car, okay, very simple. And that's what they're doing. These folks, these criminals are just using these computer Altel scanners and stealing cars. They less than a minute, they steal the car, and guess what? The small petty thief, yeah, the flock cameras might catch the small petty thief, but the big rings, especially there's some West African car rings, they're stealing 100, 150 cars a month, okay, and all these cars are going over to Africa, and basically they're sold on the black market, right? So basically, the flock cameras are doing nothing for that because these guys are sophisticated. These guys know what they're doing. They get the car, they steal it, they put it into a safe spot. Okay, then they change the VINs and they move the car to a port and they get it out of the country. So really, the flock cameras are not gonna stop anybody that knows what the heck they're doing. Like these gangs from like West Africa, they're very sophisticated, very intelligent folks. They will not be stopped, and occasionally they do bust some out, right? It's probably that looks good for the cameras, but trust me, these dudes are stealing a lot of cars all over the country every day. And just keep in mind that these flock cameras are not stopping those guys, okay? They're only stopping the amateurs, okay? Which I call the amateurs, right? So don't think that flock camera is going to help you at all with your stolen car, okay? And I see a lot of, I get on forums, Facebook, and things like that. I see people commenting how they love the flock cameras and how safe it is they feel so safe with the flock cameras and they have nothing to hide. And, that sounds all great. Okay, but don't think for a minute, man. Don't think for a minute that this will not be used against you one day, okay? And again, this is not a political issue. I try to unite folks, not divide folks, right? They try to keep us divided so we can't fight together, right? That's the thing. The biggest thing is this country is all about dividing folks, keeping people in categories, and that way we can't actually, unite together and fight a cause. And in this flock stuff, we need to unite together and fight a cause. I really, once I explain this to people that don't know about it, I pretty much convinced just about anybody, okay? There ain't many folks I haven't convinced about this that I have actually talked to personally, right? Obviously, I have to be able to have an influence on them, but I can make a good argument, okay? And once you talk some sense to people, they see the light, and they see that this flock stuff is actually, it's not good for us. It's not good at all. It's a violation of our rights. Okay, so just keep that in mind. But anyway, I wanted to bring this some of this Garrett Langley misinformation out into the public forum, and just let everyone know that that guy is obviously he's trying to build a company. He's trying to make money. He has this like his sense of he's like a noble. He has a sense of like he's holier than thou, or he has a noble purpose or something, and I'm not really sure about that. I don't really get that, but he is obviously he's in this for the long haul. So we have to fight flock at every corner, every street corner, okay, on every city hall meeting, every county commission meeting. We have to fight flock wherever they are. We got to fight them because obviously they got a lot of people fooled, okay, especially when you talk about safety, like I mentioned, and when I say well, it's about your safety, that's that's a good it sounds good, right? But trust me, you need to start running the other way, okay? Trust me on that. But thank you for watching. Please subscribe. Thank you for all the folks that send me emails and information on videos and articles. I appreciate everyone, and I thank you for watching.